The other day I did a live video, when I was talking about spiritual journey and the benefits, right? And I mentioned in that video that my own thoughts on spirituality and my journey. One thing I mentioned was I said it was very, very beneficial to go on a spiritual journey. And I did it after I'd achieved certain goals, like external goals, material goals, whatever, things in the external world. And I said that spirituality was about looking inwards. It's an inner goal. And what I said at the end of it was, it doesn't mean you shouldn't, the benefits of spirituality are true, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't then go for your external goals as well. And I said, don't be the person that is all about spirituality and a complete hedonist. So I just want to kind of back that up now with a quick live, because I mentioned about going for your goals in the external world, right? So for me, it's like fitness, health, fitness, having nice things, whether that you're into cars, making money, business, dating people, nice people that you find attractive. All of those things are external. They all give us external validation, dopamine, whatever, right? So, and it's great to, when you hit your goals, when you hit, significant milestone, whatever you're trying to do, there's nothing like it. What it tends to do when you hit a significant milestone is you get this huge state management, in your mental state. You get this huge, massive explosion in how good you feel about yourself. If you just sort of like walked into money or won a big contract or got a new job or whatever, you feel fantastic. It is amazing, right? In a journal, and every day I talk about state management. It is amazing how the little things, such a small thing, can just elevate your state and make you feel brilliant. You can be in complete scarcity, and then all of a sudden something will come out of the blue, a little bit of good news, and it'll just be like, bang. Let's say you just won a job, or just got the new job, or just won a new contract. Prior to getting that news, you were feeling like shit. You was a little bit worried. It was affecting your mental state. You was like, oh shit, am I going to get this result or not? And then all of a sudden you get the result and you feel fantastic. And I said in a live the other day that even if you're riddled with anxiety in your life, the best thing you can do is work on your life goals, because once you get a result, all your problems seem to go away. And this is true. Trying to deny it, you know what I mean? Like, the whole spiritual journey is all about becoming more mindful, outcome independence. And Stoicism is a little bit like this. It's almost like focus on what you can control. You can't control the outcomes, all that stuff. But I've been through this with my meditation coach, who I've got a session with very soon today. It's all right saying get your head down, focus on what you can control, being consistent, and ignore all outcomes. But we need some fucking reward in life. I think we need a reward. It's all right saying, just keep going, trust the process, all these like slogans that are thrown around. But we need some reward, right? And this is why when I see someone who's like super hedonistic, not into the external world at all, only focused on, well, there's two types of hedonists. The first ones that you do find in these sort of like retreats, you know, you get these retreats like meditation retreat or whatever. The first type, I just use it as an excuse to do fuck all in life. It's just an excuse to be lazy and do nothing. And, you know, they might like the psychedelic drugs and, you know, just want to get high, just fuck around, and that's great. But the second type of hedonists are just like natural hedonists. And they're just, you know, they're happy with the bare minimum. I think that's okay. But the best, as I said, is when you can combine the two. If you can smash all your life goals, make the money that you want, have the job that you want, if you want a nice car, whatever, right? Having life's abundance in whatever field you want. If you can do all that and become super mindful and go on a spiritual journey, well, if you can achieve all that whilst being at peace, I think that's the pure power. And I've shown this book before. You'll have to mirror this because it's on a live. In Naval's, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, great little book this, you should read it. It's full of nuggets. There's a section in here, I can't remember where it is, but I've wrote it down here because I got it out of my notes. What page is it on? Right, okay, there we go. Right, yeah. It's like your ability. Intelligence is your ability to get what you want out of life. So if you think about that, Naval thinks your intelligence really is a measure of your ability to get what you want out of life. You should be able to achieve everything. And spirituality should be one of your goals. And I think combining the two, so also smashing the external world and the internal world. Smashing the internal world is having control of your mental state, your mind, all of that stuff. And it also includes things like making sure that your emotions are not controlling you, making sure you're controlling your emotions, they're not controlling you. So in the live stream I did the other day on spirituality, I mentioned this. I've printed it out because it's not, if it were a long form, I'd actually post this. Now, again, you'll have to mirror this, but it's the 9 stages of ego development thing that I went through. And this is mirrored because it's alive, but over here we've got the pre-conventional mindsets. I can read through the back of this paper and backwards. So symbiotic, right? Impulsive, or the opportunist. These are very, you could say, sort of caveman-like, you know, very, very pre-conventional mindsets. And you got the conventional, which are the conformist, the expert, and the achiever. These are these here. And I mentioned in my live stream that there's other things that go into this conventional mindset. It's vast majority of people, by the way. Here now, this is the screenshot off Leo's video. He's put 75 to 80% of the American US population are in this bracket. That's most people. Conformist also includes things like organized religions. And this conventional mindset, also what I said in my other live the other day, includes devout atheists. And you can almost see a progression here, because devout atheism is basically a religion, which is where I spent most of my life. I mean, most people are there, right? And I progressed to this achiever, expert, you could say, someone who's brilliant in the job. Conformist, just like you're plugged in, you're just average. You know, I don't want to say average, but you know the type. 9 to 5, plugged in, working for the system. maybe a bit religious, whatever. And I'm not criticizing. This is a great place to be. Vast majority of people. And if you work your way up, the achiever might be the business owner, you know. And I was there and I was like the achiever. And all I believe in, science was the answer to everything. Everything was science, you know what I mean? And then over here, you've got this one called post-conventional, which is, this model is promoting that that is a higher level of consciousness. You know, on the Hawkins chart, it's a higher level of consciousness. So you've got the pluralist, and then you've got the autonomous stroke strategist, and then you've got the construct-aware stroke magician, which is where I would love to be. I think I'm definitely post-conventional now. I'm definitely not conventional. I used to be. That was me, my mindset. But this place here is where you tend to hit your conventional external goals. This is where, have you ever seen, you might have heard of the phrase keeping up with the Joneses, where people move from the first house, they want this house, it's got to be fucking laminated on the front, you need the 2 cars on the drive or whatever, they've got to be BMWs or Audis or whatever, and you know, that person's got to be a professional in this and that. You know the deal, rising up. So you've got the things you want out of life. And then you realise most of them households, after a few years, they hit a peak, unless they can move to this shit, they peak. And that's when you start seeing families smashed in two, because one of them realises that life's fucking boring. Yeah, you got a nice house and you got the BMWs or the Audis or the Mercedes or whatever. And you just think, well, what next? Like, there isn't anywhere else to go. And then people have these, like, call it whatever, midlife crisis or whatever, and they just fucking throw a monkey wrench into it, smash it all up. Everyone ends up skint and divorced, and people move to post-conventional. But if you can do this, I mean, this model, you could progress through it naturally. So like when I was here, when I was the expert, I was in my career in the city, To me, it was just science, 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 career, learn skills, get more external shit. And that's great. And then I became the achiever when I started my business, which is fine. And I went on, I was sort of over here a little bit, I guess. I was thinking a bit laterally by then, open to ideas, completely open to all possibilities, reading a lot of books on quantum and how that relates to religion and spiritual world and things. But it was only when I started working with Roberto about 2 years ago that I really went on this kind of like understood the power of the spiritual journey. Because I just sort of looked at it and I thought, right, okay, I've done a lot of work last few years and I've maximised this, that and the other. The self-development world, it's all about maximising, making sure you got abundance in your finances. And it doesn't mean an amount of money. It means that you've got enough money it's not about money, it's lifestyle design. It's like you've got the money you need for the lifestyle you want. And that is kind of abundance, really. It's not like you don't need the fucking Bugattis and the yachts and all that shit. Because you might not want that life. That's going to come with a lot of headache. You might just want to be able to live life have a nice car, live life on your terms, travel. But all of these things are still external, getting in shape, getting some smart clothes. I mean, I'm dressed like in my fucking scruffs now, but because I'm at home. Well, then you realise, like, maybe there's something beyond all that. What about the internal work, the inner work? That's when you move here. So I think the most powerful state you can have is mixing, getting your external goals and getting your internal goals. So mixing things like business success or career success or mission success, your health success, fitness success, all of that, relationship success, and then also having inner success with your own conscious mind, spiritual journey. I think if you can master the two, and it goes back to, Naval's book, intelligence really is measured by you getting what you want out of life. And that's why I said don't be just a pure hedonist and just throw in the towel on life's goals just because you can't be asked. And you think you're being cool just by being spiritual all the time and, smoking ayahuasca or whatever you're doing. No, I would think you should mix the two. That's it, right? That's my thoughts. Probably should do a proper recorded video where I've really prepared for it, but, just thought I'd shoot a few thoughts there. Hey, how are you doing? I'm just going to say hi. Oh, I just got a couple of highs. How are you? Hope you're all right today. Weather's lovely. So I've got a meditation session next with Roberto. Another thing I'm going to lead you with, I read something in the Traction book this morning, I've underlined it. I've underlined this sentence. Great leaders have a habit of taking quiet thinking time. Right, that means like getting out of the office or whatever on a regular basis for an hour or so. Part of my spiritual journey, and you've seen it on my channel, on my website, is develop a routine for your life, a morning routine. To have that time to yourself, to live a conscious life, have that time to really think through, right? And this reminded me of that. This great leaders have a habit of taking quiet thinking time. I believe that. Because if you are just work every hour that you get up, great, grind, that's bollocks. Jim Rohn's most famous quote is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And that's very true. So developing that routine, this is why I, in the morning, I do my routine. I might do some training or whatever, then I'll journal, I'll review my goals. In the journal, and you're doing things like gratitude and positive affirmations and saying what, the 3 things that I'll do today. Reviewing your goals. Then I'll read, right? I'll always read, spend time reading. In the garden like this when it's lovely. And maybe a small meditation, a bit of mindfulness. And that time you might think, how have you got time to do that if you're running businesses and stuff? This is the secret, right? That time to yourself, because if you're running 1,000,000 miles an hour, you need to have time to stop and think. Just realised I've got my AirPods in and take them out. You have time to stop and think. Time to yourself is really good for self-development, because I find that's when your best, most creative thoughts come out, and giving your brain a break from work. And I get shit for it, like from people that work with me, like, you haven't got time for that, you've got to work. And I'm like, no, this is really important. This is important for my self-development. This is where all the ideas come. This is where my mental state gets better. So make sure you do that. Just remember that. I'll read it to you again. Great leaders have a habit of taking quiet thinking time. Who does that? Well, let's think of a few people. Jim Rohn, for one. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. What about Warren Buffett? think he reads 2 to 6 hours a day. You'll find this. It's quite common. That's why you need to develop that routine, time to yourself. Right, I do have to shoot because Roberto's going to be ringing me any second now. I've got to get on a video call, do some deep meditation to sort my spirituality out. All right, go and enjoy your day. Yeah, I know. Sim, you were always saying that. Yes, I should be working, but just remember that. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you all next time.